Hi, this is Captain Al Lorenzetti for SkimmerOutdoors.com, bringing you the weekend update fishing report. This is for the weekend of April 20th, 21st, Friday the 19th. Well, here we are. It's early in the season. It's still cold. We've had a very cold spring, so the water temperatures are still down. I was out the other day at 48 degrees, pretty much stable. 48 degrees in the bay, 48 degrees in the ocean. So that's a little bit cold, but there should be some flounder stirring around. Reports I've heard, a few fish caught, but nothing great yet. And as you know, our flounder season runs till 30th of May, and the best fishing is, of course, late in the season. Come late April, May, as the flounders start bunching up, heading towards the inlet, that's when you can find them in some nice numbers, tucked away in a little deep spot. So that's kind of what we're waiting on. Offshore, some codfish on the wrecks. Some ling, whiting, so if you can get out there to some of the 100, 120 foot wrecks, you're going to catch some fish. So anyway, things are promising. The inlet now, situation there, one dredge company came in and dredged a lot of sand from behind Demo, on the north side of Demo, sent that down the beach towards Jones Beach. They filled, I think, up almost to Gilgo. Then that contract was done, they left. There's another dredge company, Cushman, out of Bayshore, that's working the State Channel area, cutting a channel from the south side near the wreck buoy, about midway between the Coast Guard and Lighthouse, Coast Guard Station Lighthouse, across to Captree and up into the State Channel. And I heard reports they're going to go all the way to the drawbridge. So that's great, but be very careful. If you're coming out, heading out to go towards the inlet, that pipe is floating and stretches all the way across from the north, from Captree to the south side. So you have to stay on the east side of the pipe, travel to the south side, and you'll see they have the pipe sunk in that deep water with two marker buoys, a green and a red. That's where you can pass by. People have already damaged their boats. The only other way a small boat can do it is to run past Captree, the State Channel, tidal along the fishing pier, and cut out right at the mouth, at the end of the fishing pier, and this way you avoid the pipeline totally. So be very, very careful there. And I have also heard a pretty legitimate report, reliable source, that the Army Corps is going to be back somewhere around the first week in May to do the final dredging to open up the inlet down to 16 feet in depth and pump all of that sand further to the west and some of it back to the east. There was a rumor that they weren't coming back until the fall, but this is from a reliable source. I think they'll be here end of April, beginning of May to do this job. So that pretty much covers the local areas and so on, but I wanted to get into another topic, and that is this business about the breach. Do we leave it open or do we close it? Of course, a lot of residents that are near it, with all of the high tides we've had after the storm, after Sandy, through the nor'easter, and these crazy spring tides we had a month or two ago, people just, it coincides, the breach happened, now we get high tides, so it's just logical people want to blame it on the breach. However, there's substantial amount of information from very, very renowned people that, stating to the fact that it's really not making a difference on our tides. For example, this professor, Charles Flack from Stony Brook, measured various locations on the South Shore during these tides and during this time period and found there was no difference in the height of the tide from directly across in Bellport and Sayville, where the breach is, to Lindenhurst or even further west, 30 miles away. So if there's no difference 30 miles away, can you really blame it on the breach? Of course, residents near it want to have it closed. They just seem to think that that's the problem. Of course, it's a political football as well. My personal opinion is that the breach, if it remains open, is all for the good. It's going to flush out the polluted waters from the eastern end of the bay. It's going to bring nice, clean salt water in, flush it. I think you'll see the clams come back. The eelgrass beds are going to return. And another thing about a breach like this, people don't realize it now, it may close off on its own. If it doesn't close off right away, what happens is sand now is being pushed in from the ocean, and it's creating islands on the north side of the barrier beach, just inside the breach. Those islands eventually will get populated with vegetation and so forth, produce habitat for other wildlife, and also broaden the barrier beach. So it's a natural way of building and protecting us even better if it remains open and these islands form. As I said, like you find in the western parts of the bay, all of those islands produce a tremendous amount of protection, and you don't get breaches that are, it's not as vulnerable as that small spit of sand was at Old Inlet. As far as why we're having these high tides, there's another whole study that was done by Tal Easer of Old Dominion. Very authoritative study, very complicated. I don't want to get into all the particulars of it, but it relates to our Gulf Stream. The Gulf Stream heads north from the southern part of Florida, fairly close to the mainland United States, but then when it hits about Cape Hatteras, it takes a northeast turn, and it heads off up into the northeast. And that river of water, half a mile deep, 50 miles across, traveling at 3 to 5 knots, is like a huge river. It's like, 500 times the flow of the Amazon River. As that turn is made, it acts like a kind of a drawing or a suction device. The Gulf Stream heads off this way and tends to pull water from the New England Bight area, from Cape Hatteras to, let's say, Cape Cod, pulling the water away from the beach and keeping the waters lower. There's a 3 to 5 feet difference in water level from the north side or from our side of the Gulf Stream to the southern side of the Gulf Stream. So, and they think that it's caused by the slowing of the Gulf Stream current. They have detected from measurements the Gulf Stream flow is slowing down, so as it slows, it has less of an effect of pulling water away from the mainland. And this, they think, is due to warming in the Arctic. So there's a lot of information out there. I sincerely think that we should try to keep the breach open, see if it closes naturally. I think it's going to be better for all things concerned if we have that nice flow coming into our bays, and I think it's going to improve the fishing. I'm looking forward to catching 50-pound bass off of Sayville this season.